This week we're hanging out with the biggest idiots in the galaxy, not once, but twice. Amy spent some time with the first episode of Guardians of the Galaxy, the Telltale Series, while Jonny Robot has some thoughts after checking out Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, which is out in cinemas right now. Plus, for something a little bit different, we chat to Ubisoft about South Park, the fractured butthole, which has suffered yet another delay. This is Player Attack. Hi, I'm Jessica Citizen, and this week we finally found out exactly what's going on with Call of Duty World War II. Described as a dramatic return to the greatest military conflict in history, this new one has Sledgehammer Games back at the helm and promises an unforgettable journey of brotherhood through the perspective of the famed 1st Infantry Division. You will storm the beaches of Normandy on D-Day, march to liberate Paris, and push forward into Germany in one of the world's most monumental battles.
Lieutenant, tell them what we're all about.
No mission too difficult. No sacrifice too great.
Welcome to the bloody first. You're a long way from Texas, farm boy.
As well as both single-player and traditional multiplayer, World War II also comes with a new co-op mode, complete with its own storyline you can discover with friends, and yep, it's full of Nazi zombies. Call of Duty World War II is out November 3rd for Windows PC, Xbox One and PS4, and pre-orders are open now. Just in case you thought Nintendo might rest on its laurels after launching a new console, the Japanese company has announced a new member for the 3DS family. In mid-June, the new Nintendo 2DS XL will hit shelves in an effort to reassure gamers that there is a future for the handheld. There's built-in NFC support so you can play with your Amiibo collection, and even though this new design weighs noticeably less than the latest 3DS XL, Nintendo promises exactly the same gaming power. Graphics, as you might expect, are shown only in 2D, but you will still be able to play all your old games, whether they were originally released for 3DS, new 3DS, or even the original Nintendo DS handheld. For the fashion conscious, colours at this point are limited but still stylish, with the sleek clamshell design available in either white and orange or turquoise and black. That said, there is already a limited edition announced for the Japanese market, and this Dragon Quest liquid metal model is actually pretty nice. The standard new Nintendo 2DS XL will be released from June 15 this year and will cost around $200 for Australian audiences. In other news, Bethesda has hinted at not one but 2 new titles that will be showcased at its pre-E3 event in Los Angeles in June. Invitations were sent out this week to visit Bethesda Land in downtown Los Angeles on June 11, and the attached image showed a map of this magical location. A quick glance reveals references to Doom, Fallout, Dishonored, The Elder Scrolls, Quake, and Prey, but there are still a couple of areas of the map labelled under construction. One clear fan favourite that is missing is Wolfenstein, and we have already been teased by a return to that particular franchise, but the other one remains a mystery. Could it be something a bit scary, like a sequel to The Evil Within? Could it be another project from id? Could it finally be a reveal of the mysterious Starship, which has been absolutely silent since its trademark registration nearly 5 years ago? Moving on to quick news now though, the rumour mill is buzzing yet again with the idea that Bully 2 is the very next item on the Rockstar Games to-do list, right after Red Dead Redemption 2. The developers have long hinted at a return to Bulworth Academy, saying they'd like to revisit the less violent setting, but for now, we'll just have to wait and see. Blizzard has confirmed that more than 30 million players have charged into Overwatch, no small feat for a new IP that launched less than a year ago. There is some new content on the way for Forza Horizon, with Microsoft revealing plans for a Hot Wheels expansion pack that will add 10 new cars to the game. 6 new themed islands are connected by a series of classic Hot Wheels tracks, packed with loops, corkscrews, high bank turns, half-pipes, insane jumps, and even giant mechanical dinosaurs. And just in case you were curious about how mobile phone economics works, here's a quick course. Super Mario Run, Nintendo's first foray into smartphone gaming, has been downloaded more than 150 million times. The game itself is free to download, but if you want to progress beyond a certain point, you'll need to pony up about $10. And it seems the vast majority of Mario runners simply aren't doing that, with literally 9 out of 10 not paying. However, Nintendo is not done with its smartphone experimentation just yet. Fire Emblem Heroes launched in February of this year, featuring an assortment of in-app purchases rather than one big price tag. Despite the fact that more than 10 times as many people have downloaded Super Mario Run, Fire Emblem Heroes has brought in significantly more money. With a few more smartphone games still on the horizon, it will be interesting to see where Nintendo goes from here and just which lessons the company learns. And finally this week, you are invited to the Martin family estate to party with these wholesome young ladies as one of the most influential video games in history gets a 25th anniversary re-release. The 25th anniversary edition of Night Trap is headed to PS4 and Xbox One in the second half of 2017, and we're hoping it won't cause quite as much drama as the original. For more information on any of these stories or to keep up to date with the latest gaming news, head to playerattack.com. But for now, stick around, we've got plenty more still to come.
Just who in the hell do you think you are?
Well... The original Guardians of the Galaxy is the poster boy for catching lightning in a bottle. Cheeky and rebellious by nature, the film broke the established Marvel cinematic mold and boldly championed two things. That the random comic book IPs can make huge bank, and that comic book movies can be both fun and dramatic. Hot damn, Marvel must have thought to themselves, grab another bigger bottle, let's do it again! But here's the crazy thing about lightning. It's often unpredictable. And more often than not, it's going to strike elsewhere whilst you're left standing in a field in the middle of nowhere with a jar held above your head, looking like a right idiot.
Sometimes the thing you're searching for your whole life, it's right there by your side all along.
You're right.
All you do is yell at each other. You're not friends.
No, we're family. Except maybe her.
Granted, this is the problem most sequels face right out of the gate, but it's also the hurdle that, if vaulted, defines them. See, classic sequels like T2 and Aliens, they take what makes the original great and expand on it. These franchises grow their characters, explore new takes on the original premise. The flip side to this is where the sequel rests on the laurels of the original and pretty much says, hey, what worked well the first time round? Cool, well do that again, but more of it. And boom, pretty much there you have the treatment for Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Literally, just more of the same.
Don't push this button, because that will set off the bomb immediately and we'll all be dead. Now repeat back what I just said.
I am Groot.
No! No, that's the button that will kill everyone. Try again.
I am Groot.
Mm-hmm.
I am Groot.
Uh-huh.
I am Groot.
No!
However, this time around, everything that worked organically in the first film feels like it's been isolated, rigorously focus tested, and then dialed up to 11. To this end, Guardians 2 does away with those pesky and constricting things called plot and pacing, and instead goes all in with the jokes. This is a bold move though, considering the script's hand isn't even close to a metaphorical full house. Whilst the jokes are delivered at a machine gun rate, many fall flat, and even worse, they painfully overstay their welcome. And attempting to pack in more funny, James Gunn has done away with individual nuances and made every character a straight up Kramer. But you see, Kramer isn't funny without a Jerry. The humour in the first Guardians worked so well because its wacky rebellious antics of the gang were juxtaposed by the authoritarian stability of the Nova Corps and Ronin. The humour worked by subverting expectation. It worked because we hadn't seen a cinematic ragtag band of superheroes that rebelled against the status quo yet. In Volume 2, you know it's coming. You expect it. So instead the humour attempts to be funny by straight up telling you it's funny. See how all the characters are laughing? Laugh along with them. Do it. Laugh now.
See, you just told everyone your deepest, darkest secret.
Dude, come on. I think you're overreacting a little bit.
You must be so embarrassed.
With such a marked tonal focus on the comedy, it's surprising that the best scenes in Guardians 2 instead come from the more quiet and understated moments. This is where Gunn seems to remember that context is king, solidifying why the characters are driven to be the lovable assholes they are, and why we in turn love them for it. This is only compounded by how the film's plot barely carry this narrative along. Instead, it's the core theme of family that truly steps up and piggybacks the film all the way to the credit roll. Try-hard jokes and over-the-top action scenes take a back seat to the main characters, exploring the uniting issue they all have surrounding family, belonging, and identity. The standout here is easily what Gunn does with Yondu, turning a bit character from the first installment into the emotional crux of the story that hits with the same sentimental payload as the climax in the original.
What's that? He says, welcome to the frickin' Guardians of the Galaxy.
Gunn also nails the look and sound of what you'd expect from a Guardians of the Galaxy movie. The visual design is often stunning, dancing between awe-inspiring classical sci-fi and the fantastical wonderment one would expect Dr. Seuss to dream up. Add to that a score that unabashedly blares forgotten gems from a 70s mixtape, and you've essentially got Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
There are two types of beings in the universe. Those who dance and those who do not.
I get it, yes. I am a dancer, Gamora is not.
You just need to find a woman who is pathetic. Like you.
Thanks, buddy.
Do you need a hug?
No, I do not.
Oh, I thought I said no. You're welcome.
From what I've said, it may seem like I really disliked the film, but I didn't. Nor did I especially like it either. The film was fine. Perfectly fine. But herein lies the problem. This should never have been a mediocre film. It had everything going for it. A great franchise, a rebellious and original director/writer, and a budget that could send an actual rocket to the moon. But its potential was squandered on playing it safe and giving audiences more of the same.
Look out!
Oh, wow. I tried, guys.
Lightning very rarely strikes the same place twice, and if Gunn and Marvel weren't so desperately searching the skies, they would have realized that there were plenty of sparks left in the bottle all along.
A garden of the galaxy.
Guardians of the Galaxy. Oh, why would we be the Guardians of the Galaxy?
So stupid.
Come a little bit closer.
Why did we choose this life? Why did we become superheroes? We dedicate our lives to fighting crime for one reason: to make $1 billion on a superhero franchise. Now let's go through the plan one more time. First, we start with the Coon movie. Then we do the Super Craig movie. Then Super Craig and Coon will join forces in the Human Kite movie, just as we start ramping up Kenny's Netflix series.
How come I have to have the Netflix series? I want a movie too.
You have a movie, Mysterion. You're in the third Coon and Friends United movie, after your Netflix series.
Yeah, but he's saying he doesn't ever get his own movie.
Do I get my own movie? Not everyone gets their own movie!
What is South Park The Fractured Pause But Whole? Because it's very important to phrase that correctly.
Yeah, so South Park The Fractured Butthole is an RPG game. It's the latest in the South Park video game series, and it takes place just days after the first game, which was called South Park The Stick of Truth. And so we are making it bigger and better than ever, and you come back as the new kid in town, and everyone has switched to playing superheroes, and now you're kind of left behind. So you've got to get into the superhero game with the rest of the kids in South Park.
How about we just do movies starring all of us, like all the time? But then we're just rehashing the same old material. There's nothing wrong with doing the exact same movie to start a franchise. Okay, J.J. Abrams. Okay, so you're on Cartman's side? He just likes this plan because he gets 2 movies in phase 1. Guys, we have to just go with this plan. We don't even have 1 movie yet.
You are the new kid, and you're still wearing like your crown and your cape, and you're still King Douchebag, which is the official name. And all the other kids have changed to playing superheroes. So you are kind of on a mission to find Eric Cartman, the character in the show, who plays the Coon, and he's kind of the ringleader of the Coon and Friends. And so he's saying, nope, we're playing superheroes now, and you can't play because you're not cool enough. So you work your way in a little bit, and he sort of helps you figure out what sort of superhero you are, what your backstory is, because superheroes, it's very important to have a backstory, and so he sort of guides you begrudgingly through this. And then as you find out more about it, you realize that, oh, the kids in South Park have sort of divided. They've fractured, if you will, into two different groups. So there's Coon and Friends, and then there's Freedom Pals, and they're both competing to have the best franchise and make billions of dollars.
How did it get to this? How did we grow so far apart? You go with the plan. Maybe we'll just go and do our own franchise. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you want Civil War? Is that what you want? Yeah, dude, it's Civil War. You. Oh, you get out of my house. We'll make way more money on our franchise. Go ahead. I bet you don't even get halfway through phase 1 on your franchise, DC Comics.
So it's good. It's challenging, to be honest. But you know, we have a great working relationship with South Park Digital Studios, with Matt and Trey. We are on calls and emails, and we fly down to LA and we meet with them regularly. I mean, like weekly, if not sometimes daily, because they're so invested in this game, you know.
And I hear they're quite perfectionists as well. Everything has to be exactly what they want it to be, which might not be what they wanted it to be yesterday.
Yes, that's true. They are very artistic in that, and they understand, because that's how they do the show. You know, they literally take 6 days to make an episode, and so that's why it's so timely, and they're able to iterate so quickly. So we have had to modify our game development style and sort of processes to adhere to that, because they are going to make the final call, and they're going to do what's best for the brand and for the game, and we want to be there every step of the way, so we have to make it work. And it's been really good. Ubisoft has a lot of resources. We've done a lot of big games before, a lot of AAA games, and so this one is really getting up there in terms of support and in terms of the level of quality that we have too. So it's been a lot of fun.
So for people who have played the original game, what has carried over from that, but more importantly, what has changed from the Stick of Truth in terms of the actual gameplay and the way that things fit together?
You know, honestly, we have started from scratch. Like, I mean, we are in a new game engine, we're in a new story, they're in a new game, they're not playing high fantasy anymore, they're playing superheroes. So we really wanted to dive deep into the superhero sort of motifs that you see and make it feel not just like a reskinned version of the first game. It's certainly not that. So we really have taken a deep dive into some of the new features in our game. We took a hard look at the feedback that we got from the first game, and we said, all right, combat was a pain point. Let's revamp combat and make it the best we can.
I thought Civil War wasn't supposed to happen until phase 3. Shut up, Super Craig!
You have to help us. This is a Priority 1 distress call, Star-Lord. Thanos is here!
Destroyer of Worlds, big glowy gauntlet, wrinkly chin. Yeah, I've heard of him.
If you've watched the trailer, you'll know Episode 1 of Telltale's Guardians of the Galaxy series follows the Guardians taking on their arch-enemy of the galaxy, Thanos, and the game gets off to a roaring start. I had worried that playing the first episode just days after seeing the second film in the series would set the standard too high, but as far as the story is concerned, I was not disappointed. The episode, called Tangled Up in Blue, is the first of 5 in the series to come, and I will preface this review by saying I am super excited to spend more time with my all-time favourite space pals. It must have been incredibly exciting for the Telltale team to work on a story with arguably the best Marvel franchise, in my opinion. However, it is really difficult to put aside the narrative choices of the recently released film and not make any comparisons. The game's story is happening outside of the cinematic universe, which makes sense, but I found it a challenge not to play the characters with their on-screen personas in mind. The writing definitely nails that Guardians vibe with a solid balance between feel-good adventure and well-timed jokes. This game is mostly Telltale business as usual, so obviously don't go into it expecting an action RPG, although someone should definitely make a Guardians action RPG. I would buy the heck out of that. It's basically a lot of super nice cutscenes with some pretty casual QuickTime events every now and then. I am actually a fan of the QuickTime event. It's a mechanic I mostly enjoy when done right in games. However, QuickTime events work best when they're, well, quick and dramatic, forcing you to make sometimes difficult decisions with little time to think. The action quick times in episode 1 did feel a little forced, and often left me wondering if they were having any impact on the story at all. Now, I always enjoy the conversational choices in Telltale games, but don't expect your choices to change the overall structure of the game too much. The choices in episode 1 mainly revolve around deciding which teammate you're going to piss off first, though the chilling butterfly effect of "that character will remember that" is as powerful as ever, and it is this mechanic, rather than the quick times or the puzzles, that makes this genre of video games so powerful. It's definitely not the walking. Walking around in the game seems really forced, it's slow and almost painful. I kinda wish they'd just given me less control during the slower paced moments, but maybe it's gonna pick up. I have faith. What the game lacks in mechanic, it most definitely makes up for in style. The team have nailed the cartoony vibe perfectly, and the music is so on point. Kicking ass through the galaxy to the sound of the Buzzcocks, ELO and Hall & Oates could never be a bad time. The game is pretty much exactly what you'd expect from the Walking Dead team does Guardians. Although episode 1 mainly focuses around Star-Lord's character development, I really hope we get the opportunity to play as other characters in future episodes. This episode definitely left me wanting more. I found it highly enjoyable as an interactive extension of the film and comic stories. You should play this game because you want to spend more time with the awesome Guardians team, not because you want to play through some grand exercise in action. Bring on episode 2.
And that's about it for this edition of Player Attack. Thanks for watching. Next week, we're not straying too far from the printed page. Jonny caught up with the dream team of Greg Rooker and Nicola Scott to chat about Wonder Woman, Black Magic, and the current state of comic books. In the meantime, you can catch us at playerattack.com. We're on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. And if you've got something you want to say, send us an email, mailbox@playerattack.com, or just hop on our forums. Also, if you want to support Player Attack, you can find us on Patreon and help us bring you the latest in gaming news, plus all of these wonderful interviews and reviews from the world of video games. Till next week, I'm Jessica Citizen, and this is Player Attack.